time 10 a.m. on the 24th day, 9th month, 2023. You get a hot one coming. Gonna be burning up out here. Gonna be freezing your toes off down there. Hot and cold, hot and cold. Fire and ice, fire and ice. It's not very nice. And these are going to fuel some storms. It's going to fuel a lot of dust from the desert with the winds moving off towards the east. And the hot tongues of air will actually reach down towards the coast and make things pretty sticky with the moist air. Cold down there in Canberra, right as we're looking at their nighttime temperatures here at the coming week when your heat begins. So by coming in by Friday afternoon, it's steaming, man. Absolutely steaming all the way up the coast. So get ready. Get ready for this. Make sure your fans are working. Right? Well, how could you get ready? You got plenty of water. Make sure you drink plenty of it. Watch out and watch for fires because it's going to dry the whole land out. And we'll be watching very closely the fire situation in Australia in the coming week. And while you guys are getting cold down here, you got the tongues of cold air here come all down on you. Yeah, it's going to be licking you good there with that cold air here right below the beak and the kiwi right at its bottom. Yeah, all through the mountains where they've just had all this terrible rains, and you got more coming. Yeah, you got a very wet 10-day coming. Use the brakes well that you have. So I'm going to kind of go into that too, because this event is not over yet. Not by a long shot. As you can see here coming into tomorrow. Some of the totals still hitting this the Whakatane area over here. Pretty much centering around, right around this town here of Opotiki. Tiki Wiki. Freaky deaky for old Tiki Wiki down there, huh? Tinky Winkly Doo. Boom! Hey, Taranga. How's that storm there, huh? Have you been warned? Or should people saying it's all over thinking this? Yeah, it'd be the Kuta Matata for Matata down there. You ain't done yet. You still have some heavy totals to come. So I'm going to run through now. New Zealand pretty much focused on your screen and the lower corner here where some action will take place. But on the 10s, you have another system that's going to come over and pretty much do the same thing, but with not as heavy tendrils of moisture towards that South Island again. So watch the whip around, and pressure is going to be important to show here as you'll watch many eddies spin off as the drag of this line here is proceeding all the way down your coast here. Here, I'll run her in motion for you. Well, thank you, Gift Kev. The endless. And what we got going on here. See how that's all coming down here? Well, the lower is spinning in a different direction. You've got several lows going on here. Where these two intersected formed a small low here. You'll have a small low beginning to form here. Slow down the bombs. See this square generated here? This flow line ain't getting past that. Right? It's put a lot of pressure on that. You see the waveform here going actually across the crescents of the waters here. Between where I guess that's New Plymouth, which is still going to get some more totals. But the whip around, it's going to happen in a day or so, is going to bring stuff back around through this direction, right? And you've got a massive chem deployments going on here off your coast. This is extremely obvious one. Oop, right here. Let's just see the swastika there, or the Schwab sticker. You can stick your Schwab sticker up your ass. Take your Schwab sticker, stick it up your ass. Take these chem bombs, toys, stick them up your ass. The general tone being, they can stick this up their ass. Look at how square that form is there. Well, this square is bumping that square, which is bumping this square, which is bumping this square, turning the entire Tasman Sea. And the square down here, corner bumping that one. It's just sprag clutches. One corner catching another, turning another. Fluid dynamics. Just your basics of even your torque converter and your automatic transmission. You can figure that one out. You'll figure this one out. Look how they're locking it up. All right, lock the clutch into that one, into that one, into that one. Each one of these has different bands of EMF and slightly different dynamics, pushing different temperatures of air above and under others. Right, you can see that creeping over the top. What's it called? It's wedging under there, giving it the old wedgie. Yep, just going on right there. Lots of fields of bombs here. And this is also a huge part of EMF wave propagation longevity to help the wave last longer and have more powdered particles to move up and down, which will condensate into more clouds in very predictable peak and trough formations. But there's a lot of chem here. A lot of chem. I'm going down here off the coast here. Look at this triple shot here. Over here, the passing gas over Arthur's Pass. Look at that. Boom, boom, pull them right there. We can get a little bit more close up on this. This is your weather being made, being generated. Look at these plumes here. Boom. And yes, they're passing gas over Arthur's Pass. If Shardy Valley times. And it does not make me very happy to see the chem bombs over the valley. Making your air so crappy. Crappy air. Here, there, bomb, 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 bombed your air. They bomb, 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 bombed you here and there. Look, boom, 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 boom. They bombed you there and there. Oh, look at the streamers poking out under this. It look like sheep walking by. Mask! You could take your mask and shove it up your ass as well. You feel that unsafe? Why don't you lock yourself in your house and the rest of us get on to work this time? Before anything else becomes fully automated. Boom, boom, boom. Pow. It is not natural formation there, folk, making that V there with a crack in it. Yep, big old steaming crack. As they're looking down here in the Hutsville. In a beam sweat. Let's run it faster, see if we can catch the dividing line. Right here. It's pointing at any known stations. Yeah, the V shape. Blenheim. Big V point right at your ass here, too. It is a guilty spy station. They've got a lot of radar dishes and other devices, including a harp. Behind the thing in the grape fields back there, where you will not be able to drive without getting chased out. I know this from experience. They came up with the John Deeres were coming down every row in the white trucks with the black windows. I'm telling you, I've been there. I wanted to film it. Yep. And if they're trying to hide stuff, then they're hiding their guilt, right? Isn't that what they say about you? Or they do not want you to see. NOTSEE, not see. Are you in that see, or do you see it here? If it's breaking through your heads yet that is not a natural cloud formation, you figured it out yet? Is it moved the line in a V shape like that? That thing should have streamed over, just going right with it as a puffy cloud, never doing any of that crap. But here it is, a big ass crack appears. It's not a natural condensates, these. They're lasting too long. That turbulent flow should have took that right underneath. But no! Bam, 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 bam again. Look how many different flows they've made meet here. Well, I'd love to know the pH reading of this rain. Anybody been taking that for me? You just tell me the number. Anybody can do that. Look at this criss here, just outside the peninsula here. Right here. It ain't natural. Something exploded. Just watch. Continual bombing of this one spot. Making sure clouds stay there so the storm can direct where it's wanted. Maybe more toward Auckland. You definitely capping it through here. Yeah, that area right there. That sticky outfit is going to cap it. You're getting big flows, big time Quake. And the slash is a huge problem. I mean, it says an ass crack with a big shit coming out. We damn sure see some shit in the sky here, Serops. Look at this crap. Boom, boom, boom. We see psyops in the sky, Serops. Hey, look at that one there, that bomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With a center point. Streamering out. They're all pointing at something is there to play it. You start seeing splashes in a pond, you might not see the fish, but you damn sure can know when to grab your fishing pole, wouldn't you? You can get your fishing pole. I see the splash, right? Or do you want a person that has to lick the shit on your shoe and just make sure it isn't chocolate that you can waste? You believe me, I smell shit on the shoe of Mother Nature here. Just damn sure a whole bunch of shit covering that dumb sticky outfit right there. You ain't got nothing but curtains of rain coming across this area. Every one of those little Heavier white bits is a thicker curtain of tendril as they're pulse it right on down from the tropics. There's another, that'll be another wave right there. And they'll hold that and bring it together, or under that one, combine the moisture of those two when it comes ashore. You see how this is working, how they cut the tendrils up? Cutting a tendril there. That's how I can calculate a lot of your totals, is I count the tendrils. You, you got to. You got to look at what's going on over here sometimes to see what's going to happen over here. You damn sure better keep your eye on what's being deployed here because of what's coming. And so I'll show you now. Take the pressures, Jeff. And you'll just see these lines begin to make your way over. First thing I notice when I see this is look how much of an area they've actually got spinning. That they're actually got under their EMF control. And it is big. There's some big areas being controlled. I'll show you this one here. This is your tendril here that's bringing things ashore. I'm going back another 10 minutes or so. You see the line here that's been sent out to sea? You see this line right here? Where's the EMF interference pattern meeting the most? And one coming down here. So your highest quake risk, based on this is here. And surprisingly, you get the other lines coming through here, here. So it puts another risk in the chromatic trench closer to shore. Much closer to shore through here. I won't be surprised if you don't have a couple localized ones in the force, height 3s, and right outside here in Auckland. See that dot? It's swept that direction towards that waveform, which puts the higher quake risk along the port chap, what I call the port chap. Yeah, it's a piece of land. If I go and load this, it's gonna blank out for a second, but I think it's worth noting this. So you'll see what I'm talking about. I just want the map. Pay no attention to any of my, let's take my things out. It's none of your business. This is my work. Here we go. Takes off his pins. Right, I call this the port chap because it looks like a giant port chap. See the port chap here? There's the bone, right, with the big piece that sticks out. And it moves very predictably. And what you just had happen here was wave came down, right? Wave came across. Wave comes out. So, to vibrate this, and that starts echoing back ashore, is why I said the smalls. But the main waveforms actually intersected right here. And we could cause some of this to slide down into the further depths of the ocean, which is a lot of your quakes or landslides under here. So I'll be watching very closely. I won't turn my pins on and go imaginary on you on this show. I'll do that on another one. All right. Down here, you have a meeting of wedges. There's a wedge of fault down here, and I watch it very closely at this area. Come on, you got this better map than that. You could tell us if there was a grain of gold under our houses. They got to have a better map than this. I think they hide the signs of ancient civilizations that are under the ocean. We're not going to go looking at my untitled place marks off the water there. So I calculate how these move, and fairly accurately, right? And when I said there's knuckles under the water, these are like here. Well, when you zoom in on some of these areas, you'll see these giant cracks, right? And they move very predictably, very, very predictably. They have to give sometimes, this direction and that direction. So I calculate them as well. So I'm going to turn that off. So I know how the port chap's been moved, right? And if I look out here, though, you want to see a big blast? You look at what here is up and towards Harp, and what's blasted this over here. Watch. See this big blast here? That manipulates this here. They're shoving this moisture here towards that way there. That backs up the sand here. It sends a shed load of sand over to UK to feed this storm. And we get a shed load of sand coming here. See the pulses all the way up through here. And it took more than one pulse to do this. One's under that layer of the atmosphere that's been perturbed. This is a big, big deployment that went on over the world today. Now let's let that run for you. Run, 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 run away. And I could turn it down. You guys can have all these timestamps on things that people seem to enjoy. I don't enjoy seeing this. And I turn it on, like my ears are hurt and I have no energy. I got a headache. You know, when I feel lethargic or sometimes sick to my stomach, because that's going to echo. That waveform will echo and come back. So they time it again and pulse it back up, and you can continually fountain. Hawaii's just kicked the beam off to the side. So they're aiming that up in a wedge like that. This one's aimed down. See this, the corner of this beam here is still there from the other day. This is manipulating this storm here that's going to keep us soggy for about 10 days. We are absolutely, look at the tendril they cut. Wham, wham. It's right here going over toward the Bristol and Land's End now, and it'll go up the Irish Sea, come up here through Limerick and raise hell through Ireland today. And their quake risk is high as well. High, surprisingly, is over here Gibraltar way because catching a lot of blast. It's going to back up a wave into the Mediterranean. Yeah, Stromboli could be fountaining, man. Fountaining Stromboli. Yeah, that volcano goes off a lot. So you see these big blasts that are going on. And is it hard? Yeah, most likely. Because I had kick off to its north at the same time. It went that way. So it's left a corridor of cold. Pop, pop, that it can come down through the central United States now, begin to fuel early winter storms in the Rockies. And the tongues of cold air can definitely be influencing the hurricane season for them, making them ripe for a fairly suddenly popping up storm, actually. So I'll be watching the Hurricane Alley up there and see what goes in. Hurricane Alley, that sounds like a name. Yeah, sorry there, President. I didn't mean to get Hurricane Alley. So your beams are kind of very evident here. Very, very evident in how they've perturbed this area and where your highest quake risk is still is going to be right about there. That's a significant amount of multiplying waveforms that you'll be adding together their values. That's a lot of perturbances there. So I'm going to turn this part off. So they have had some big beam manipulations that you can see. And they do show up on Worldview, which I'm not going to show you because I want to see it still. And so let's roll this back along now as we proceed now into the rest of the next 24-hour period. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this right here is getting near 24 hours from now. 24 hours from now will be this, right here. So as we go into the overnight period, you guys are not out of the woods. If you haven't made a smart decision, you're stuck with what you have decided to do. Okay, you've made decisions here, and this is going to be belting ashore. It's going to be tornadic activity is near to be guaranteed because you're mixing so much warmth and hot together. And the eddies formed as this tries to struggle against the EMF beams that are in place here. You know they've got one running here. You know you got that one running there. It's pinned this. It has to fold around. And that's where you start picking up the totals through Harks Bay and proceeding south. And this is not going away quickly. It's going to come back and haunt you from the other direction once the flow of Cooks is fully sucking through that direction there, which should have already begun. Yeah, let me get the particle animation on. See, that's that other low that had to happen. You get two lows parked side by side. EMF beams and mixing of different land air masses and eddies will do this. And even there, the flow is fairly blocked. You see how the beam has come up. A beam will be up there just to divert this flow. See how that area of doldrum there? Yeah, that's going to be a beam sweat. And so again, Blenheim will be actively manipulating. At that time right there, if this rain shower was to sit here for 3 hours, it'd drop you a centimeter a rate. That's a lot. And this is just 2 days from now. And the accumulated totals over the next 3 days slated for this period is very high. Very, very high. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's not a nice thing to have to show. As it butted up against here, in the next 3 days, she's dripping near 25 centimeters of water on you. Yeah. And then it calms down. But then you get it again. There's more coming. There's more coming. Your break is over nearly down here. You got another system coming through, right? They're not telling you. It's not. You got break time and then whammo. But they are. You're being honest. So I'm watching this next system that's approaching New Zealand. Very careful, but in no way, shape, or form is it carrying the same amount of water. Like, it's just not there. The water has been melted down from up here. And that's the whip around. And on the tens, you'll see. Yeah, why that accumulation has happened is because this here has been held in place by the pressure of stuff over here that this little island down here is not letting go. This here is a big weather manipulation island. So we're going to continue to roll that for you guys. And turn shimming off this pressures because it just makes you all wound up. You just get all stressed. So here we are again now, right about well, this would be exactly 2 days from now, right here, right? According to them, I think they proceeded it too far this way. And the pressure to me seems like it's a little bit drifted too much over that island. But eventually the high it'll park over it. They'll heat the low deck, stall the top. Right? If I get a vortex coming down here of heated air, I can effectively pin that top or start to arrest its momentum, so to speak, and drive it ashore in bands of rain, which is the move I'm seeing going on. And it's typical. It's very typical. Then at some point they have to send a beam up here. Wham! Cuts that tendril free from this, and then she can come ashore. Suck it right through the strait into an upcoming low to feed it again. So this can come back around. You're starting to see the move? The up and over? And the whole time that low has not gone away at all. Days from now, it's still there, being held over this island. Somebody watching the chem deployments and the beams that hold all this in place. Typical separations, like when you cut the tendril so the low can continue to whip around. And whip it good. I'm going to go with SS. We'll go with SS and we'll now bring the corner down because some of them heat's going to start to come into effect for us, which is going to trigger volatile, very quick storms. So the chem will react quicker and your fire risk will start going out at the yin yang yang, so to speak. We don't know who does it. I showed you who does it. It's who does this is philanthropists, private companies investing in the research and pushing for the having of the blocking of the sunshine. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has funded this for years. Private government funds it. Some of it's even funded in the Paris Agreement. It says how much each country will kick in. These little green taxes you guys are paying on your heating bills to spray you like bugs, it does. And it's not admitted it's going on yet. So it's a terrorizing thought to me. To wonder what the sky will look like if it's admitted to they're going to do this. Okay, we're going to do it now. Oh my. Do it now. No, we will never do it now. We will never block the sunlight from all the animals on this planet. If we want to block the sunlight from ourselves, then we should. And do that. You can walk around looking like a bunch of Draculas, right? Hello, Uncle Fester, how you doing? You know, kind of white-skin-ass, unhealthy mole men and Planet of the Apes going on. Seems like it sometimes, but that's what I can prove. That's where that comes from. I can prove it's litigated by United Nations. And those proofs are well evident. And the land grabbers are your private companies and people that want the money and they want your land and to make money for their family's future at the expense of your family's now. And as we head in here toward Monday, you see, that's going in too far north. If it comes in, I'm not liking, this don't make sense to me, this one here. How that went past here and here doesn't make sense at all. So I'm going to watch this very closely. The totals ain't matching what my eyeballs are seeing. If they do this move like this, they could cut that, send that south, bring this right into it, and come about the 6th. You guys are going to get a clobbering if they keep it going like that. Yeah, it'll put you about the 6th for a clobbering. So, it ain't over till it's over. And well, when you guys say no more, no more, we are not the system's whore, all is one, then we know we got this. You know, millions of whores slapping 10 pimps, you know, it could happen. The old pimp slap. Whammo. Look at that. Oh my. Man, the totals are showing pretty heavy down this area here. Not liking it. What's going to run your way? But this is the whammo. Not good, folks. Not good at all. You've been cam-bombed. You've been frozen out. Your toes are cold. Your nose is running because of all the chem in the air. Tazzy, looks like you're in for again. Your wetnesses are coming. Seems like it's always wet there. I think you must have a lot of black mold problems in your houses. It's never allowed to dry out. Yeah, not good, not good at all. And again, the totals of rain along this area is way too low for the amount of chem we've been seeing. Let's have a look at the worldview and one other thing. I did bust the radar beaming here. Yeah, the best way for me to show it was to take a screenshot, okay, so I can zoom in on it. You can see the next right here is beaming. It's all coming toward Blenheim. See that line there? Hold your straight edge up to your screen and start following these lines. And they'll point right at the radar station. Whammo. Busted. See, that's a slam bust. See how square edge that is? Bzzz, getting fried Kiwi style, man. Not healthy. It's not healthy at all. You have to see stuff like that. This is your last hours or so. You see a beam shooting out in this direction here out to sea. Boom! This is just your New Zealand radar. I had you pulled up over here. Yes, I did. We had you going on today, folks. I told you I'm watching. I want a more recent image. Who is doing it? Which Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funds Scope X. How do we get money from Bill and Melinda Gates money to use their money to stop them? Venture to spray dust into the sky. Yeah, funded by Bill Gates. You know, geoengineering research program and millions of dollars they pumped into this. And he controls the fake food. Scope, limited impact. Working around the globe, Walmart developments. This guy's got his hands in everybody's pot, and he wants your land. The sugar daddy of geoengineering, Bill Gates, who is doing this. Bill Gates' efforts to block the sun. He wants to block the sun and clog your hearts. He thinks that depopulation is going on. He announces a $1.4 billion grant distributed over 4 years. That's a whole lot of chemtrails he can block. Exactly. There's a lot of money. I say it's done by philanthropists. And he ain't the only one, right? Ain't the only one that wants to block the sun. And ain't sure block the sun here today. If we're lucky, we'll get a few shots. That's a beam swat, right? A part of that square. That's another beam. Bzzz, there's the fryers going on with lots of chemicals. Right here, see that there? There's the chemical catalyst at it. There's the head of the tiki looking at everybody going, ah, you see the mask right there? The tiki has showed up. Never good. Na 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 na. Bobby Brady picks up the tiki and gives it to his whole family because he loved him so much, and each one of them had such a nice day. When they get freaky deaky with the tiki, it's never a good thing. Look at that feather in the sky. It's chem bombs and electromagnetic frequency pulses. His CERN is very active. Okay, so we can say that. I'm not going to show it, just I'm telling you it is. Because I looked and we had a small solar flare, but not enough to kick off all this that I'm seeing. See the square there with the dot in the center? That's a chemical deployment here off the coast of New Zealand. This is where a lot of these fronts have met. And there's a lot of chemicals to induce updrafts, downdrafts, the stirring of the mix. Stir the chemical mix. We're all living into test tubes. They're stirring a chemical mix. A chemical mix. Boom! Look at that there, tendril and eyes. It ain't the Eucharist. I'm telling you that ain't healthy. This isn't fairy dust. If you think so, blue hair, white hats, you go up there and breathe that stuff. It will not be over quick enough. Yeah, that's ignorance dust if you think that. That's a lie, by the way, that's being told. Oh, they've edited a chem-bomb deployer out of the feed here. It ain't just a glitch or a satellite going underneath the other. I've picked these up for years. You ought to see how many of them were involved in 9/11. Yeah, to move a hurricane. Blue screen skies for you and I, you know. It was the perfect blue screen over New York that day. Look at the EMF over here in front of this sphincter-looking object here. Pinch point. Whammo. Yeah, they're pinning it. Right down here. I wonder if we could pick up any of the waveform there. Let's see what we can see. Nah, that's too whited out. I can probably see it if I go here. Well, this might take a bit to load. Want to see? Let's see. Can you see it one way? You can see it another. You just bring it right on in there and pick up the waveforms. So while this loads, I'll have to sip of my water. And if you find my work of value and you wish to support it, for me to come see you guys, and I am, you could do so at paypal.me/Robert Deutsch. And a GoFundMe's also been set up for me. I was very, very honored that somebody would do that. And I'm coming to see you guys. Yep. I imagine about near New Year's time, I might be over this direction. I'm going to be over as this direction about the end of October, very beginning of November. Yep. That's when I should land there. Start using that visa. Look at all these bombs being deployed here. Pow, pow, pow. There ain't a factory out here. It's over the ocean. Okay, so that's chemical plumes. Let's see if we got any moisture injection. You see that like light waveform going over the top? Then it hems the chem into those typical squares we're used to seeing. A little bit faster, you'll catch it. See the waveform coming across? And another one meeting in that direction. Yep, holding the flows apart. Big flows apart. The dividing line's coming right through here. Another dividing line's right up here. See, it's squaring out. See where the things move in different directions. One goes north, one goes south. Yeah, that's a dividing line of chem right there. So the dynamics of the storm change there. Mine has some big tendrils coming down on top. Let me slow that down. These are your batches. This is where you're heavier. You get them rushes of wind and rushes of rain. Some of these dots will be chem deployments themselves, actually bombing up, causing a sudden change in temperature high up. That's what this is indicative of. These are temperature colors. Yeah, we always get a big square, huh? Boom, and it went in two directions in that side. And when you can't see it one way, it always shows up another. Let's go back to the beginning. And in the beginning, Bill Gates had a wallet that was empty. And in the end, he's going to have one that's empty. In a meaningless life. A life that did harm is not what you're here to do. So he does fund all this in a big way. 1.4 billion from one guy's pocket that's invested in fake food and all this, and he destroys the food supply with his very program. This is the biggest. This isn't even Sherman Antitrust Act monopoly. This is something new. It's a dumb way to die when you let a rich man at your sky. That is for damn sure. How many birth certificates did he buy up? Well, you know, one tribe can't tell another tribe what to do. Isn't that law, according to Australia? Well, who's to say what a tribe is? All I know is there's a sky crime going on. Look at that formation right here. Boom, 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 boom. It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. You turn on here, you see all these microwaves out here. Crisscrosses in number 30 in the sky there. The cam in the sky keeps on burning. It blows in the wind. I think that blows. It's falling out. There's fallout in the sky, you know. It's not just nuclear bombs that do that stuff. Oh, it irritates somebody. Nuclear. Oh, cringy, isn't it? Yeah, look at that. Look like a bug. Cthulhu's Kemptowners. My favorite Martian. Someone did squiggles here. Your weather is so owned, but you are not. So stop acting like it. Was this an R's cousin it coming to town? Again, I have to say, how many directions of the wind are blowing here? Yeah, you had a really obvious pulse. I took a screenshot of it earlier. See if we can find it here. Look at this pulse here. That I see now coming from the ocean. It's not far from you. You dimple in the pond. Pulse the top of the atmosphere until it starts to dimple. It actually causes it to rise like a pimple, and down it comes, up and down. Undulation, and that's a great example of an EMF blast. If I'm lucky, I can see it again. I believe it was but there's so many of them to be seen here. But that was a very obvious one. And this is Guilty Island right here. Look at all the frying going on here. It's a blaster is absolutely owning this storm and stalling it. This is your staller. It's on this island over here. Boy, it must have a big device too. It's reached way out to sea. Way out to sea. See the bombs here? Feeding the mix. The vibrator is on, but nobody is coming. Yeah, this is not very blissful to see, is it? Day in and day out. Chemtrail, chemtrail, chemtrail. Day in and day out. Boom, 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 go to plumes. Day in and day out. People are being hard. And while the totals that are coming have just been shown to be quite evident, it's quite high still. Alright, so you guys watch for the heats. Make sure your fans and stuff are working. You know. Get your fanny in order. And watch for the storms coming, because it isn't over yet. It's not over yet. What a fucking shame. So there's your accumulations. Worst case scenario one. I think these totals are a little low. And I'm not understanding why this is so low. You hear me say that? I think they're low. So let's just say your soggy season ain't over. Yeah, you're going to have a soggy gash still. Hey, there's a lot of slash still to come your way here. Right, there's your 3s and here's your 5s. And here's your 10s. Yep, it's not over. It's not over by a line shot. Some of that'll be wintry mix. So get your blankets, Ed. Put some extra socks, Ed. And your Uggs if necessary. Yeah, the ugliest shoe in the world, in my opinion. What the hell are they thinking? You still got some high totals here now coming up in the Can corridor. We'll go up there a little bit. Yeah, and this is coming fairly eminently, so let's give you guys a bit of a peek. Hey, what's check coming your way? Somebody said they cleaned their fanny out last week. That's very good to do daily. Sadly, so Nelly. How you doing, David? Yeah, it's going to be very steamy down here in the rainforest. It will. Moist and hot. So it'll be like Mosquitoville. And as far as fires go right now, I can get that stat running. And I'll have a quick peek of where your fires are. Ooh, a new statistic has appeared, huh? And they are going on. Data guy Copernicus. Yeah, we just go in and have a peek. Quick click, folks. Keep up with me. Let's have a quick peek at some of your fires. Yeah, it's done the forecast part, pretty much. Hey, you'll get finished running through your week of sogginess, but in all fairness, it's springtime in the tropics and you can expect those storms. But they've been held in a certain area. So the concern for me is fire risk through this area between these two areas that are always staying dry. And so we'll have a quick look and see if anything looks sus. I'll be seeing you when I come your way. We'll make that documentary. Find those films you took if you can of those talks I gave. If not, we'll make some new ones. Yeah, sadly, I think the Chinchas films but it went floating away in 2018 floods that went through northern rivers. See how you going quiet until you get to the beginning of the month again. You get a bit of sogginess. So you're going to have some dry times coming up ahead there when it comes. It's going to be kind of welcome for a lot of people. But back here ain't getting squanto and getting nothing but the fire season. And I'm very worried about the fire season. So we do have some big smoke going on out here in the Northern Territories. So I haven't looked at this yet. That color's like houses. And that brown area there, that's already burned stuff. It's not burned there though. Well, what do we see here? Evenly spaced that's at that particular angle. Doom, doom. Then they're at that angle, same spacing, same spacing, same spacing. Yeah, that's a bit sus. What about yesterday? Hey, nothing sus to see there, huh? Evenly spaced fires out there. Are they doing a controlled burn or are they controlling with their burnings? Get in that big city corralling us like a bunch of animals into the shootout. Yeah, that's pretty sus, I'd say. All of this is sus. Every bit of this is sus. Evenly spaced fires again. The nitty gritty of land grabs. What a sad thing to see, watching them burn the outback. But today's mostly what everybody's worried about is their own self. So let's check their own self out. Evenly spaced, evenly spaced. Same spacing. Same between them deads and those deads and those deads and those deads and those deads. Same. Another fire. Kind of gritty there, like a grid. Same evenly spaced there as well. Welcome to the rabbit hole, folks. I've been monitoring and showing you guys evenly spaced fires in Canada for quite a while. Same spacing. See? It might not be the obvious square, but the dots that the laser can fire is like that kind of a pattern in a sweat. And if it's a laser doing it from high up and it's not as, and it's moving like a satellite, then a blue roof might very well protect your house. But if it's sitting still, it won't, because eventually it'll catch. See, even spacing of these fires. That's what I've been talking about. It's being done on purpose. This is your land grab. This is your lack of voice. And once you're not allowed to go out here, there's an actual equilateral triangle there. Once you're allowed to go out there, you won't see this. You won't know what's going on. How much they burned. Much fire. It was not burned then, right? There's not burned. And it's today. What a fucking shame. What about this one up here? Do we see the same spacing? Yeah, it's hard to determine with that few dots. So we do things, we keep it honest. If you ain't keeping it honest, keep it away from me. And as we go up here, where you expect to see cane fields bird, and I'm seeing like somebody rolled a pair of dice over here, got an eights, crazy eights going on, same space in between the dots again, going on up here in the Carpentaria area is a perfect trapezoid. See it? Nothing to see here today, is there? You know, even grid there. You can lay out a neighborhood and parcels of land according to those squares, and all these burn toward each other. What about the animals in the middle of that square? Exactly. It's hard to think about, so let's not, huh? No, let's think about it. Let's confront this ugly ass truth of the burnout. Again, that space is popping up, but this is is an undeterminable. It's not as obvious as that last fire, right? Would you say that? What about this one up here near the Okalawa Park, York Peninsula? There's that dot here on the same type angle. Boom, boom, even the same dot. See the space in between those? Come on, use your eyes and your head sometimes simultaneously, and you won't bump into the wrong things too often. It's indeterminable. I can zoom it into any position to make those dots look the same apart, but I won't. Right? Because come on, honesty levels are important. Yeah, we're burning out here as well. Again, trapezoid, same angle. It's kind of hard to keep reproducing this unless it's on purpose. Three dots will always make a triangle. That one's not equilateral. Boy, is there a lot of chem out here exploding in this EMF. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that square there. All that straight line pointing right toward the center point. Chem bombs. That'd be an 8 shift there. Where's Hogwarts coming? It's a fucking bunch of dementors in charge over there. What if Guy Fawkes failed because he told people what he was gonna do, didn't he? Yeah, well, Guy Fawkes said bonfire night is every night out here, it seems lately. And I'm worried about a line across through here. Yeah, it's North Adelaide. There's gold, and they want it. So expecting the fires up here, following this line. There's two dots, you ain't determining nothing. So right, I have showed you the chem, I've showed you the strain, I've showed you the sky, and it looks like a stain. I showed you this, and I showed you some more, and all at once we must scream, no more, no more. I am not the system's whore. Big love, stay safe, peace.